Hi, it's Josh Goldberg here, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about conversation hijacking, which is a common defense mechanism of the narcissist and the borderline personality. I'm going to talk about what conversation hijacking is, why the borderline and the narcissist does it, and at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some important tips as to how to effectively deal with conversation hijacking, so make sure you watch until the end of the video. Many of the defense mechanisms of the narcissist and the borderline are actually intrusive and sometimes aggressive. And that includes the defense mechanism, which I'm going to talk about today, which is conversation hijacking. So what is conversation hijacking? Interrupting someone is when a person talks into the airspace that another person is already talking into. It is disrespectful to talk over the top of someone. That is why it is socially acceptable to make amends when you accidentally or intentionally talk over someone. I'm sorry, I just spoke over the top of you. Please continue, as I would really like to understand what it is that you're saying. Conversation hijacking is even worse than interrupting someone. It is when the narcissist or the borderline person interrupts you and totally takes over the conversation by wafting on about something that could be related or unrelated to what you were saying, taking the airspace away from you and also taking your mind away from what you were saying. This leaves you feeling confused, frustrated, and even angry. And of course, you will feel not heard and disrespected. Conversation hijacking is often coupled with gaslighting and word salad, which further confuses and disorientates you in the conversation. Word salad is when the narcissist or the borderline person says a bunch of different statements that don't really have any relevance or make any sense when you put them all together, with the goal of further confusing and frustrating you. Because it is a defense mechanism, conversation hijacking is usually a repeating pattern of behavior which sabotages many conversations and attempts to resolve conflicts and disagreements. Many people who have been involved with a narcissist or a borderline personality report that they're just not able to finish their sentences, and many conversations and conflict resolutions are left unresolved because the narcissist or the borderline person simply take over the conversation and don't let the other person have their say. And this leaves the person feeling confused, frustrated, and lonely. Wow, when am I ever going to get my point across? This is a total waste of time. So why does the narcissist or the borderline person do conversation hijacking? The main function of conversation hijacking is control. Omnipotent control is a foundation of the narcissist and the borderline personality, and it was formed in childhood. The perceived omnipotent control that the narcissist or the borderline feels that they have gives them relief from their intense abandonment anxieties and their fears of rejection and abandonment. A child that grows up in an environment that is emotionally neglectful, dysfunctional, and unpleasant will have to adapt in their mind to the situation that they are stuck in and can't get out of. Remember, a controlling person is an anxious person. When a person doesn't deal with their past anxieties, they become controlling as a subconscious way of mitigating their underlying anxieties. Many of the controlling behaviors of the narcissist and the borderline are preemptive, which means that they will take drastic action in order to get this feeling of perceived control. Conversation hijacking is a defense mechanism behavior which was formed in childhood, where the child was regularly criticized, blamed, mocked, and harmed. The inner child of the narcissist and the borderline has deep anxieties around their emotional vulnerability and safety. If this goes unresolved, this can cause the person to not let others express themselves and finish what they were saying because of the perceived loss of control. Remember, for the narcissist and the borderline person, loss of perceived control equals anxiety. Another thing to remember is that these defense mechanisms of the narcissist and the borderline can also be taking place in a relationship with a safe, healthy, supportive, and functional partner. Unresolved traumas can make a person feel like that they're in danger and that there is a villain against them, even when there is no such thing happening in the reality anymore. So how to effectively deal with conversation hijacking? Now, one important thing to keep in mind is that conversation hijacking is their dysfunctional behavior and it is not your responsibility to fix it. At the end of the day, they have to heal their past emotional traumas and adopt more connecting ways of behaving in relationships and connecting to others. One thing to certainly not do is to react negatively and take their conversation hijacking personally. This only will bring increasing conflicts and elevate your blood pressure. You always want to act effectively instead of reacting negatively. Observing and reporting back to the person what behavior they are doing and how it is negatively impacting the situation is an effective way of dealing with conversation hijacking. If you are in a close relationship with the person who has conversation hijacking behaviors, you can reflect back to them what behavior they are doing and ask them what emotional experiences that they had in the past that might be behind this behavior that they're repeatedly doing. This is certainly not an easy task to deal with these difficult behavioral patterns, so please don't try and go at it alone when there is good support and guidance out there that you can tap into and connect to. And above all else, always remember to take care of yourself and stay gold.